All right, well, I just want to say good afternoon to the Masonic homes of Covina and Union City, and to our clients and our staff, whithersoever dispersed around the state of California. Well, first of all, hopefully you can hear me, and if I'm a little muffled, I'm going to take off my mask, and I can do that because I'm in the privacy, as you can see, of the office here in Covina. Well, so today is, of course, day 31 of shelter in place, and as you can see, I'm working here in the office on the Union City campus. Well, I have to say it's really good to be here. I honestly thought I'd never say this, but I really needed a break from the dogs. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love my dogs, as you all know, but they're not kind of getting the whole work at home concept. I keep asking them to get the mail, do some filing, get a cup of coffee for me now and then, and do you think they understand any of that? Absolutely not. All they want is to be petted, to be let out, and to get some treats. It's all about them when I'm home, and I just can't get all my work done. Well, okay, I'm joking. But speaking of my favorite things for being at home or for being here at the office, today is April 15th. Now, usually that would mean we'd be filing our taxes today. But just like everything else in the world, things have changed. Fortunately, one of those things is taxes. So now I have until July. That I'm really happy about. But speaking of things that have had to be postponed, this week we made a decision to postpone all of the summer events for the Masonic homes. Means no Summerfest, no Harvest Fest, no Job's daughter's 100th anniversary, and I hate to say this, but there's just not going to be a Jam and Jelly Day this year. While it's too soon to predict what's going to happen this summer, I do believe that we must continue to exercise an abundance of caution, and that having these events probably doesn't make a lot of sense at this point. So here's my report for today, as I have given a report every time we've done this video chat. Good news, we have not had any residents with symptoms or fevers. No residents have required a test because there have been no symptoms. No employees have tested positive. We did have 2 employees here in Union City that are home for a 72-hour fever check. What does that mean? It means that if they've had a fever, they have to stay home for 72 hours without a fever before they can return to work. We also have 2 employees who are in self-quarantine in Covina. Why? Because they went to visit their parents and their parents have tested positive. Therefore, they must remain for 14 days in quarantine. Now, for those of you that are following the news is not great. We've seen the increase in the number of deaths, but we've also gotten a little bit of hope. Some good news is that we seem to have plateaued, and we seem to be seeing kind of the downward slope of the curve. But we're very fortunate here in California because we made those early interventions, we made those early sacrifices, and they seem to have worked. But it's worked because we've been socially distancing ourselves, and because many of us are staying at home and working from home. I will tell you that although we're talking about lifting these orders, it's not going to be life as usual. I don't think we're going to be returning to that anytime soon. So please stay on this campus. Don't go out unless it's an emergency. We are all relying on each other to get us through this. We have been very fortunate here at the Masonic homes, but let's not begin to take any chances now. The COVID care centers that I've spoken about in Union City and Covina, we can get those ready in less than 24 hours. But let's really work towards never having to use them. We're continuing to enhance those already comprehensive infection control plans that we have in place. As you can see, all of our staff are wearing these really fashionable scrubs. Mine has this deep cut V-neck now, which is something I usually don't do. And they're black for some of the administrative staff, so I guess they're fashionable. The reason we're doing that is because as we continue to kind of move about in the community and wear our street clothes, we want to be sure that the clothing that we're wearing here as we're taking care of our residents in the Masonic homes is clean daily. And so this gives us the opportunity to launder these every single day. It's an extra layer of precaution, of course. And now, the next extra layer, which came to us from the state, is that we will be wearing surgical masks. So all of our staff are now required to wear surgical masks. I know we were wearing for a few days the cloth masks, but the state has now changed that requirement for all employees working in CCRCs, which is of course what we are, a CCRC or skilled nursing, and it's just surgical masks. But we are allowed to use our cloth masks in the community, so I want to thank our residents for making all the cloth masks. They're going to be available for residents and for staff who are out in the community. I'd also like to thank Niles Rotary and Fremont Rotary for the large donation of surgical masks for our staff. As far as the state goes, they want to see us wearing surgical masks. But for you, our residents are allowed to wear the cloth masks. And there's a new requirement by the state that if any of the residents leave their apartments, leave their rooms, they must be wearing a mask, whether that's surgical or for residents, they're allowed to wear cloth. Let me give you the construction update. I've been asked, well, what's happening with construction? So first, the sidewalks. Well, as you can see, the sidewalks are not open yet, and the reason for that is the railings have to be put in place. So you can see, for those of you who may have been looking down the hill, that some of the railings are in place. Not all of them, and they're continuing to put in railings. However, we may run short of railings because as you know, with everything going on with COVID-19, some of the suppliers aren't working. So hopefully we'll be able to get all the railings in and open soon. But I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be, sorry. As for the plaza in front of the head building, well, you can see that construction is ongoing, and I apologize for the dust and the noise, but it'll be really beautiful once it's done. I know the start time for construction is 8 o'clock, and people have asked, why is it noisy before then? Because they are getting the trucks in place prior to that. Pad B, wood framing is going to start at the end of the month, and right now they're finishing some of that preliminary work. Now, Adams, of course, is probably the big question, right? Why are we not starting on Adams? Well, we have signed the contract, the contractor is in place, and he would have been starting, but for what's happening now, of course, with COVID-19. We need to keep Adams open because if we open the COVID center over in Lorber, the employees who are going to be working in there will need a place to stay. It's not advisable for the employees there to go home if they are going to be bringing home any potential COVID virus to their families. So they've asked if they could stay, and we have granted them that additional benefit. If they're working in the COVID care center, they'll have a place to stay. The same is true actually down in Covina, that we will have accommodations for staff working in our COVID care center. As far as our staff goes, of course, we continue to find ways to be able to take care of our staff. And something new this week that I think has been very exciting is our We Care raffle. It's called the Pillars Raffle. And every day, a number of our staff wins something. It could be something as small as maybe a logo piece of Masonic homes, like a thermos or a water bottle, or it could be a $50 Amazon gift certificate or a $100 Amazon gift certificate. And of course, there's going to be a grand prize at the end. But every single employee is going to win something. And I want to personally thank you all for the great cards and messages you've been sending me and the well wishes. You know, it takes a village, as I sometimes say, and I really appreciate everything our staff is doing. They have come together as a team. to stop this virus at our gates and protect the residents, protect our staff, and protect our families. Please know that you're all a part of our family here at the Masonic Homes, and we care. I'm also getting some suggestions for topics, so keep them coming. I don't mind talking about them on these various video chats that we're having. And don't forget our televisits. What a great opportunity to talk to your family or your friends. And I'm going to put a plug in for the Masonic Center for Youth and Families. Remember, we're all getting a little stir crazy, okay? We all suffer from cabin fever. And they're a great resource. So schedule an appointment to talk about how can I avoid stress? How can I feel less anxious? I'll tell you one thing you could do is turn off the news. I've limited myself now to 1 hour of news. Unfortunately, it's hard to find news anywhere that just gives you the news without an awful lot of commentary. So anyway, try to limit the amount of news. It just gives me nightmares every night when I listen to it. And we've got something to keep your mind off of all this. Remember that we added HBO and Starz Encore. And there are several new channels of entertainment up in the 500 range. So do a little channel surfing. Turn off the news and look at HBO or some other movie. It's a great way to keep yourself entertained. Well, as always, my prayers for you and for your families in these really difficult times. And remember to stay home, stop the spread, and let's save some lives. So, blessings to all of you and your families. Thank you.